Why did you call him Mishy?
Because me and Craig Mish are very good and old friends, and when I see him, I felt the need to call him Mishy. That's what I used to call him when we used to talk.
Does anyone call you Mishy? Does anyone Craig, does anyone call you Mishy?
No, but John has called me Mishy forever.
Thank you. I love you, Mishy.
So you are somebody who is embedded with the reporting on this Marlins thing. And I was saying before you came on here, Craig, this doesn't sound like it could possibly be over 10 or $15 million. That felt like New York spinach leaked to Joel Sherman of the New York Post, where Jeter wants his reputation intact. So tell me where I'm wrong or where I'm right.
Yeah, no, I don't think it's about that at all. I think that as soon as this lockout is over, and maybe it'll be today, who knows? I do think that the Marlins are going to spend more money. I think that they had some trades that they were going to make that I still feel like they have a pretty strong chance of making. But inevitably, Dan, when you're Derek Jeter, and people can probably look at this in a lot of different ways, but Derek Jeter, say what you want, does deserve a different treatment than others would. I mean, he is arguably still the most popular player in Major League Baseball, and the guy hasn't played in almost 6 years. He's a celebrity. He's got a documentary coming out on him, which, emulates sort of the Michael Jordan documentary to a degree that, they had previously, The Last Dance. And Derek Jeter wanted to be treated differently. Derek Jeter's contract was up at the end of this year, at the end of the baseball season. And, I don't think that Derek Jeter wanted to go into the final year of his contract not knowing, what his future contract was going to be. And I think that is where this all sort of began and came to a head. Did I think that this was going to happen yesterday? No, I did not. Did I think that this would happen in November? Yes, I did. I did not think that Jeter's contract would go beyond that. And that's kind of where we're at today. So, yeah, the idea that this was over money, I personally don't believe that. I think the Marlins are still going to, stay on this path that they were on previously with Derek as the CEO.
I should have told the audience that Craig Mish is a contributor for the Miami Herald and the MLB Network, and he has a podcast that I know that Greg Cote will love the name of, Swings and Mishes.
I know the name of that podcast.
Mishy.
I love it.
Swings and Mishes.
I love it.
Assess the job Derek Jeter did here.
The positives are he basically rebuilt a farm system that was completely depleted, and he put that farm system in a position to where the executives of the Marlins could then take some of those players and trade them for established major league players to teams that essentially are going to do what the Marlins did back when he took over, which is trade their stars. So in Major League Baseball, to put it in layman's terms, just identify those teams that are, don't claim to be tanking, but sort of are, and are willing to trade their star players for prospects. What Derek did was, establish that we're going to get all these prospects, and now we can use them to get better players and become good. Although, obviously they haven't done a lot of that yet. That's a story for another day. So that's what he did. He also helped establish a much bigger footprint in the Dominican Republic, where the Marlins were lacking very much so in terms of international scouting. The organization built a new facility there. I think that's going to help them big time in the long term. So those are two very big things that Derek did. They did not have those footprints before. They do have those now. In terms of the negative, the season ticket holder base is still very low. People are still not going to the games. There are no plans for people to still go to the games. The team did not win a lot under Derek Jeter in terms of his leadership. And they really did not have, to me, a sense of the next wave of how Marlins fans are going to attend games. I still did not see that. I did not see a direction there. And I saw some misdirection there in an attempt to bring in millennials and people that essentially will never go see Major League Baseball games. I don't know what the answer to that. Miami's always had that problem with that, with the Marlins, and some of that, of course, is trust. But, some negative and some positives. But overall, I would not say it was an abject failure, but he certainly did not succeed as CEO of the Marlins.
I think I need a grade. I need a grade on this. What do you think? I'm thinking C.
Seems like a B- from Mish.
Wow.
Incomplete.
Wow. Yeah, incomplete.
That thing's incomplete.
I was going to say C+,
Automatic failure.
C+, maybe?
I couldn't. I would have to put it in the C plus range because B feels like a successful grade to me. I would say
They did make the
say
playoffs. Dan was dismissing that playoff appearance. Can you stand up, defend that playoff appearance?
I mean, I wouldn't completely dismiss it, but again, it was unfortunate that no fans were able to attend it. They didn't play a playoff game at home. They had to play those games in Chicago because of the pandemic. Chicago got the home field advantage in that 60-game season. So yes, it definitely does mean something, but it did not feel like a regular postseason appearance. I mean, clearly.
Would you say the Marlins are in a better or worse position than they were in before this ownership group took over?
I would say that they're in a better position.
Hello.
Because I don't think that the ownership is going to get involved in in changing ways so often. I think that under David, respectfully, and under Jeffrey, essentially anybody could get in the ear of Jeffrey Loria, and if they're able to convince him of something, he would be willing to fire somebody, bring somebody else in, and just completely change directions on a dime. So I think that the ship is still sailing in the right direction, but I do think that with the on-field product that they have and the prospects that they have been able to assemble, if they can make the right trades, if they can make these trades, like they had some trades right there before the deadline, before the lockout, if they can make trades, get the proper players to come in from an offensive point of view, I do think that they can have a lot of success because say what you want about Derek, under his leadership, they did rebuild the farm system, but the big issue is they haven't been able to make those trades yet. Like, I mean, that's the thing. You have all of this and they haven't done it yet. And that's a whole nother thing, that now falls on Kim Eng, who's the general manager.
What trades, Greg?
They had a couple of trades out there that could have brought them some high level, Major League Baseball talent.
Name names. Come
on. They could have gotten Brian Reynolds from the Pittsburgh Pirates. That was a player that was very much on the table for them. That the common fan of baseball probably would say, who's Brian Reynolds, and a lot of people right now are on their phone Googling. But he's a very, very good player, and to me, he's a center fielder. He's a game-changing type of player. The trade would have been extremely painful. The Marlins would have had to give up a lot of prospects, but inevitably they did not want to do the deal. Derek did not want to do that deal.
Craig.
Thank you for telling me about Brian Reynolds, by the way.
There you go.
Craig, what's your best guess that on the Marlins payroll this coming season? What range do you guess it will be?
I mean, I don't know about the exact figure, and I know that the new CBA may alter some of that. I would expect them still probably to be in the bottom 10 of Major League Baseball, but I don't think they'll be like in the bottom 3 or
Roy,
like
what
that.
were you laughing at?
Greg Cote.
His voice.
Yeah, it's like it's still closed on him. It was
Yeah,
bad.
sorry about that.
Yeah.
I ran out of tea.
Okay. Mike Ryan said that you were trying to muffle a cough the entire Elton John concert.
What?
He said the entire.
It's okay. I understand
He
why.
wasn't sitting with me. What are you talking about?
Craig, how do the Marlins compete in the East? Even if they make these trades, how do they compete in the East?
By the way, the only thing more expensive than the Elton John tickets are the Paul McCartney tickets. They're like $5,000 a ticket.
Unbelievable.
I mean, I'm not gonna be able to go to that. It's kind of sad.
Crazy.
So look, the East was not good last year, Billy. They were not very good, the East, when they were supposed to be good. So I think you could look at it from that. Look, I know the Braves won the World Series, so I guess that's the easy comeback there. But no one expected the Braves to win the World Series either. And if Freddie Freeman was to leave the Braves, that would certainly be a big hole for them. The Mets every year have these expectations that they're supposed to be a playoff team and they're supposed to be great. Never happens. Something crazy goes on with them and they go the other way. And the Phillies what have they accomplished with all of the money that they've spent and bringing in Dave Dombrowski and bringing in Bryce Harper and getting JT Realmuto? They've accomplished nothing and Joe Girardi, by the way, and they've accomplished nothing. And Washington is, I don't want to say they're in a tanking situation, but they're going to be worse than the Marlins. That I'm certain of. So this new CBA looks like it's going to have 12 playoff teams. So maybe there's a chance that that's the direction, that's the way that they get in a wild card type fashion. They're certainly going to have a bigger opportunity to get in. And the East looks formidable on paper, that's for sure. But I've seen that story before, and it's the Mets losing 90 games and the Phillies being disappointing. And who knows what the Braves will be. So I think they'll have a shot.
Craig, when the commissioner came on with us and said a bunch of different objectionable things, but was supporting tanking and was supporting the idea that the Astros can be unfathomably terrible and then be champions if you strip it down. Could I have gotten any competent baseball person 5 years ago to trade that outfield, and I would have replenished my farm system with arms if that's what I was trying to do? Do you think that the average major league executive could have done that?
Okay, so the layers to that, it's a great question. So the layers to that is on the Christian Yelich trade. Okay, on the Christian Yelich trade, your answer is yes. Any competent general manager, any organization should have been able to produce a Major League Baseball player from that trade, unequivocally. That is absolutely true. The Marlins, under Derek and under Gary Denbo, felt that the direction from, and I don't know if this is going to change now, we'll see, but the direction of the organization is, let's get a bunch of athletes. Let's get a bunch of guys that can run. Let's get a bunch of guys that can steal. Let's get a bunch of guys who strike out a lot and have big power. Doesn't happen in Major League Baseball, but they thought that was the way that was going to happen, and that's the direction that they went with Christian Yelich. I would say that the Ozuna trade was good. It produced Sandy Alcantara, who they just gave a 5-year extension to. It produced a kid named Zach Gallen, who was a pitcher of theirs, who they then traded for their starting second baseman, Jazz Chisholm. So, and then Ozuna left St. Louis. So in terms of competency, they did a very competent job in making that trade. So I guess the biggest question remains, if one trade was really good, definitely good, and one trade was horrible, which was Christian Yelich trade, what you make of the Stanton trade. Because Dan, does New York want to pay Stanton the money that he's getting paid right now? Or if they had the choice right now and they could just slap that salary off their books and go sign somebody else, would they do it? I think they may. So that's the one where no, they got nothing back from him whatsoever, but it gave them the ability to hypothetically at one point spend some money, which is still obviously TBD at this point. They're going to have to prove that.
What do you view Don Mattingly's job security right now?
From what I understand, Roy, I think that it is very high. I think from what I understand, now it's kind of hard here because Derek played with Donnie at the end.
Check that text. Something might have just broke.
$5, Greg Cote.
Okay,
Is the lockout over now? What's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Craig. Sorry we interrupted you.
Yep.
No problem. I think to say that Donnie is good with Derek being gone, I think that's a stretch. But I think that Donnie is just going to kind of like be Donnie. And has anybody had to deal with more than Don Mattingly?
Guillermo, put it on the poll.
Classic Donnie.
Is Donnie just going to be Donnie? Put it on the poll at LeBatard Show.
Is Denbo staying, Craig?
Denbo is, I haven't broken that yet, so I guess I'll break it. Yes, Denbo, I was going to do that today, thanks. So Denbo is staying.
You're welcome.
Denbo is staying. His contract is through 2023. I don't know what will happen in 2023, but he is staying for 2022, maybe for 2023 too. I'm not sure, but again, back to Donnie for a minute, and I'm poll worthy. Look what this guy has had to deal with the ownership change. Rest in peace, Jose Fernandez. With that, dismantling the team. Derek comes in. Losing a million games, thinking he's going to lose his gig, gets an extension, wins manager of the year, pandemic in the middle. Like this guy's lived like all these lives as manager of the Marlins. It's incredible.
Craig, so who is in charge of vision right now with the Marlins? Like, is this Kim Ang's organization right now?
Who's in charge of like where they're going to go from here? You mean?
Yeah.
On the field or overall?
Overall.
Bruce Sherman.
And who's the baseball power now? Who's the
CEO? Bruce Sherman's going to hire a CEO, the ownership group. He's going to hire a CEO that's going to oversee baseball operations.
And does Bruce Sherman like have a lot? Like, what do we know about his desire to own the Marlins? And because this has felt like Derek Jeter's from the beginning. Like, is Bruce Sherman up for this? Like, does he want to rebuild? Is he a committed owner? Like, what do we know about Bruce Sherman in terms of his desire to continue with whatever vision is currently in place?
Yeah. So not a lot is known about Bruce Sherman, and I think that that's probably by design. He's seemingly very quiet, doesn't do a lot of press conferences, doesn't talk publicly a lot. Bruce Sherman loves baseball. Bruce Sherman is a huge Marlins fan. Bruce Sherman does not know how to to be involved in trades and looking at other organizations and making deals to the extent that Jeffrey Loria did. That's for sure. Bruce Sherman does not want to be involved in that. He wants to hire somebody that's going to do all of that for him. As far as selling the team, no. I think that in my opinion, this will be Bruce Sherman's team for a long time. Just my opinion on that. And I do feel in the limited time in person that I spoke to him, I feel like he is fully committed to winning. I still do feel that way. Whether or not that happens and whether or not that plays out, especially after this lockout is over, we're really going to find out, because the Marlins, as they are constructed right now, are not much. They are better, but not much better than they were last year, opening day. And so they still are going to have to get better. And whether or not that commitment comes true, I guess we're going to have to judge. But that's, I don't know if that answered the question. That's pretty much the extent of it.
Break some more news here for us, Mishy. Who's going to replace Jeter as CEO?
That I don't know.
Break
that
it.
I don't know the answer to.
Break it.
Any other news you can break? Is there any other news that we can get before we get you out of here? News you were going to break today or later tomorrow?
No, you ruined that already.
I asked him to name names, and he named a name. That's never happened before.
Never happened.
I know,
that never does happen. You got an extra.
Some guy Reynolds.
You got an extra nugget of information. Cody, close us out here.
Craig, do you think Jeter is done being a baseball executive?
No, I think that he'll end up back with the Yankees as being like an assistant to the general manager or something along those lines. But I don't think that he'll have the hammer. I don't think that he'll be the final decision maker for a Major League Baseball team again.
You owe $10.
He doesn't know how to shut it off,
Greg
man.
Cote. You don't know how to turn off your phone.
I turned it down. What can I tell you?
You did not turn it down. You owe $10. Let me see in your wallet. The last time you opened your wallet, there was a pebble in it and nothing else.
I have money now.
All right.
You owe $10.
All I have are 20s. And 100.
Okay.
Here's 100.
All right, good.
Buy yourself a
Wow.
hat.
Future funds.
Here's 100. Buy yourself a hat. Craig, thank you for being on with us. Again, a reminder, that is a good name for a podcast. Swings and Mishes. It makes me happy just saying it. Craig Mish, thank you for being on with us.
All right, guys. Have a great one.
Thanks, Mishy.
Thank you, Craig.
Thank you,
You got
buddy.
it, guys.
You're
Have a great
very,
day.
you're very objective soul. You're very, very, very gentle reporter. Here's Jeter failed. Chase him out of town with a fork.
Still got to work after today,
Thank you, Craig.
Later.
See you, dude.
Craig Mish.
Yeah. Oh,
More
yeah.
Marlins.
Not just local.
You guys, right? You guys you couldn't just keep it local. You had to spill over with that Mishy.
Swings and mishes.
Swings and mishes. You had to spill over. I can feel them breathing on my neck. So let's segue into something that feels a little more like a Greg Cote Tuesday and talk about what happened with you and your dad at the doctor's office yesterday. You were going with him for content purposes, and then we never heard from you. There was a lot of confusion, not surprisingly. The Cotes were going to a cardiologist, even though his lungs were what was going to be looked at. It didn't make a lot of sense. So tell us the backstory.
Well, his heart doctor is also his GP. So I want to see his GP. I want to just kind of make sure my dad is expressing how terrible his cough is to the doctor. So we talked about it last week on the show. We talked about it on Mystery Crate. The plan was Monday. I reworked my schedule with Roy so I could miss Monday, blah, blah, blah. A lot of things went into it. I called my dad yesterday morning, 9 a.m. I'm like, all right, Dad, where's this doctor's office? Let's do this. He goes, now that I think about it, I'm getting test work done today, and I won't be actually seeing my GP today.
Right. True. Yeah, I had an echocardiogram done I did not see my doctor.
So
who's
after all of
great.
that buildup, where I changed my work schedule, I found out at 9 a.m. yesterday morning. We're gonna have to I'm seeing my GP in 2 Wednesdays from now. Luckily, that works better for my schedule, but it didn't happen yesterday because my dad is infuriating.
He is, and he doesn't think he's wrong, and he's just nodding as if like,
what went wrong? Yeah.
Yeah, what happened? What are you so bent out of shape about?
It's a triangular thing. The first test was the echocardiogram.
He doesn't get why.
Tomorrow, I'm going for a stress test.
He doesn't care.
But Dad, we talked for a week. I'm going to go with you to see your GP. And you were like, yes, fine, you can come. And then the morning of, you're like, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm not seeing my GP today.
That's happening in like mid-March. But it's embarrassing. What am I, a child? I have my son going with me to the doctor?
This is the thing, Chris. This is what I'm telling you is I try to get my dad to not drive as I have to navigate some of this stuff, this fun stuff in old age, because this is no good. He's only going to get more and more stubborn about not wanting your help, even as he needs more of it. We have all been encouraging him here because he muffles coughs throughout the show.
That kind of thing. Okay. I mean, what do you want me to do? I am what I, my body is struggling. My voice is struggling. My body's fine.
What are you drinking to help it?
Coffee.
But you are what you are. I mean, that's it. You're not going to change now. Why change?
Right.
It's worked. I mean, you're still here.
I'm a finished product at this point.
There it is. I've given up. Okay. And he's going to be very stubborn about it.
And Chris, I will tell you that a yes and a fine at his age is just to get you to go away. It's just, okay, I heard you. I didn't really hear you. Go away. I mean, am I wrong, Greg?
No, you're right.
Thanks.
That kind of thing. When I say that kind of thing, it's really an effort to move the conversation away from where it is.
Really?
That kind of thing.
So,
I think you look great today, Greg.
Thank you, Billy.
I didn't want to know that secret. I mean,
Look is not really our concern right now. It's sound. How does
Billy
Greg
is-
sound today?
Billy is very genial. I wish he was in my life all the time. Billy, I wish you would come home with me, just hang at my house,
Baby.
and occasionally just make a complimentary remark. It would be fantastic. Oh, I said fantastic again. That's another fine. Okay.
See,
What's
this is the thing. Just a little more positivity around you, Greg. I feel like
Yeah.
you can't say positive words. You can't just feel good. It's like, wow, you're so positive, Greg. Let's be more negative. Don't say fantastic. Oh, you look like shit today. Oh, you can't breathe. And it's like, let's just prop him up a little bit.
Thank you.
The power of positivity.
Damn right. Yes.
he's still breathing. I mean,
Right. Look on the bright side.
A wheezy breath.
Billy,
Greg and I have a shared bond with inhalers now, is the thing. So
Yeah.
I understand the struggle.
Yeah,
I had to
right.
get a spacer.
oh, God.
Greg can just use, fortunately for him, just use the inhaler properly. I had to get the spacer. Stugotz was actually privy to see the spacer.
Yep.
Kind of ridiculous.
It is. The spacer is 5 times the size of the inhaler. I mean, it's weird.
What is a spacer?
Yeah, I
I don't
don't
even know that. What's a spacer?
How would you describe it, Stugotz? You saw it.
It's like a thing that connects. It's a big plastic kind of thing, right? And it connects the inhaler to your mouth, I feel like, to make it easier to inhale. Billy was having problems
It
with the
looks
inhaler.
somewhat like in Austin Powers, the penis enlarger thing. It looks kind of like that, like the penis pump.
Do they
Yeah.
really make
Yeah.
those?
I don't know.
They do.
Bumping it.
Not my bag, baby.
I'm guessing Stugotz is right, even though he's guessing. I love that Stugotz is just like they do, as if he knows all that goes on in the penis pump manufacturing.
You think they stopped
circles.
making penis pumps?
I do
mean,
not.
what are you, out of your mind?
I do not think that they
What is the
stopped.
science behind that? Not to get this about that, but how would that even work?
I want to talk about not that kind of dick, but the special kind you are.
Dick Cody.
Greg Cote's love of you, as you do nothing but try to derail this show at every turn.
False.
His
Fallacy.
His love of
No pun
you,
intended.
he likes you more than he likes his own son. His son makes fun of him. His son wants to help him stay healthy and live long. You just want to be happy till he dies.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do I have to apologize for wanting happiness now?
I want him to live.
Thank
I just
you.
want to make fun of him while he does it.
Right.
I want to be able to make fun of you for like 2 more decades.
Yeah, geniality is underrated. If you're a genial person, it's a wonderful thing to be around.
I dream of geniality.
Thank you. Very nice.
Some good 60s wordplay.
Yep.
Look how happy your dad
Barbara Eden.
is. It's his wheelhouse.
Damn right.
He's burnt up.
Where's your back in my day?
I don't have one today.
Off week.
I've been on a real run. Yesterday I was going to write it, and then Jeter happened, and
It happened.
What did Jeter have to do with it? I mean,
well, I had to write Jeter, and
I see.
You're dropping it back in my day on Thursday, Greg. Don't let
yeah,
that get
there you
at
go. Yes.
He just pointed his inhaler at me.
Well, it's a prop.
He so badly wants to talk about this musical. Thank you for giving him the opening.
He has a song on the musical called Back in My Day, so that'll suffice as
Yep.
his Back in My Day
Thank you
submission.
for that. I'm very proud of it, by the way.
Can we talk about the what our plan was for Mystery Crate that blew up in our faces and never happened?
Oh my god.
Greg, we leaked the thing for you to get it out 5 minutes before the announcement, and you just didn't put it out.
I didn't know how I was supposed to do
We
that.
spent an hour on Mystery Crate explaining what you had
I
to do.
texted Christopher. I'm gonna
Let me explain to the
I
audience.
showed the
here.
text to the group.
Let me explain to the audience. On Mystery Crate, they were trying to, I think, undermine Mike, who spun out
Not
of
at
control.
all. We were trying to help Scoops out. Scoops, for whatever reason, while being an insider here, for whatever reason, never seems to get the scoops on the show. So we said, you know what, Greg, right up your lane.
I've noticed that too.
Greg had written about the musical. We thought, who better to kind of help pass this story along than Greg Cote? If it's going to get scooped by someone, why not get scooped by our own?
But
right?
it wasn't getting scooped by someone.
It could have. And by the way, I just, not to point any fingers, the rollout, we were all supposed to do 3 o'clock. We had some 303s, some 305s. What happened with that?
Cortez did a thing with 305. He wanted to do that.
Chris Whittingham had this whole instructive thing where he told us exactly how to set a timer so it went off automatically.
You guys are going deep dive on something that perhaps some people missed on Mystery
Well, I
Crate.
guess the story here is that there was a planned rollout from corporate, which is a very new thing for all of us. And the plan was definitely to undercut that rollout by
5
giving
minutes.
it to
By
Scoops.
5 minutes.
But what happened on Mystery Crate, and it was funny, was a scheming by Billy and others to get Greg Cote. Billy, don't deny what
False,
I'm saying.
false,
I was
false.
here. I
It was
saw.
your entire
Whitty's
idea.
the one that sent him the information,
It's
not
true.
me.
It was Whitty, actually.
Whitty
now that I
sent
think about
the
it.
info.
You would have heard on the last Mystery Crate what was clear: a betrayal from inside. The enemy is within. The spy is within the house. Now we know how Greg Cote gets some of his information. You would have heard them negotiating how to get Greg Cote the news to break Mike's big planned rollout, whatever was happening with corporate.
I had nothing to do with the rollout.
Whatever, but they were trying to undermine that by 5 minutes by giving Greg Cote the story, a story he never ran. They gave you the ability to release the songs before we did.
By what method?
I love how you're talking to him and explaining all this, and he still has no clue about anything we're talking about.
Greg,
guys-
all you had to do is tweet a link out.
Social media. That's it. They were
You
trying to
tweet
give
a
you the
link out.
opportunity. Yeah.
That's
Dad,
what we did 5 minutes later. We tweeted
Right.
a link out.
We were all planning to do it at 3 p.m., and we told you on Mystery Crate, hey, Dad, you do it at 2:55.
Okay.
And you were like, all right, I'll do it.
All right, Christopher. I'm going to throw you under
No,
the bus.
Dad, I showed the group.
Hold on. There's a bus. There's a bus coming. Hold on.
Look out for the bus! There's a bus! Chris Cody's gonna be thrown under the bus! Who's driving the bus?
Ralph Cramden. That's who.
Yeah.
All right, read that text, Christopher.
Dad, you text me at like 2:50. You text me at 2:50 saying, hey, by the way, that thing you guys explained, I don't know what you're talking about. Can you help me do it?
Correct.
And I was already, you were about to send our, I was like, all right, I'm punting on it at this point at 2:50.
You punted,
Yeah,
not me.
but we already explained it to you. This was not my job to re-explain it to you after.
It was discombobulating the way you guys were
Thank
explaining it. I didn't know whether you expected me to write a story or whether it involved tweeting something. It was
You
not
still
made clear.
don't know, and we've explained it to you twice.
They were trying to give you a scoop, undermining our outfit from the inside. I'm surprised, Stugotz, you did not shout something about Jerome Bettis during all that bus talk.
Oh, my bad.
It's the most stunning thing to have happened here.
I was blown away by Ralph Cramden. I mean,
Damn right.
1955.
It was a Ralph Cramden reference. So this is what's happening as we broadcast the descent of everything we love here. Because we're broadcasting it. They called him with a scoop. The betrayal's on Mystery Crate. Greg Cote was on the call. He failed to execute send to undermine Mike Ryan's
Such ugly
project.
words: undermine, betrayal. Helping out a fellow colleague, spread the word about this musical. By the way, this is just kind of a semantics thing, but someone asked me this question and I didn't have a good answer for them yesterday. Isn't a musical like performed like a play? Is this actually, in fact, a musical? Is it more of an album, right?
No, it has a story to it. So.
Okay.
I thought the same thing you did, though, Billy.
I was asking. I was like, oh,
Well, at some point, we will act this whole thing out if it takes off.
Oh, there's
Maybe a music video.
We will.
Coming to Broadway.
a music video.
We're going to tour a music video.
I actually heard the musical, the fully mastered version of the musical, on my way in for the first time. Start
Wow.
To finish. And yeah, I'm a little nervous about it now because it's weird. It's just a very weird thing for a sports show to do. And you guys were telling me this early on.
What are you talking about, Mike?
You guys
it's not weird at all.
You guys tried to tell me that early on. And I was like, yeah, people will get it, but it is, it's a big swing, and I hope people gravitate to it. But yeah, anytime someone asks you about is this a musical or not, yeah, it tells a story. There's a cohesive story. It starts with a Saban about football, and we get into a macro look at the NFL season, and there's occasional exposition to move the storyline along, and then all of a sudden we land at the big game. And
are you apologizing for it being weird, as if it's just dawning on you that
He
this
seems
is
nervous.
weird? Like
I'm nervous. I worked very hard on this, and it's about to on Thursday go out into the universe, and I'm worried about this isn't really the audience for musicals. So I'm worried about the concept as a whole. I'm very proud of it. It's very in line with my sense of humor, but it's weird.
This is what happens, okay? And this has already happened because you decided instead of just releasing it when no one expected anything from what is this stupid idea being done by this stupid show and just releasing it, you get corporate involved, you get releases, you get it sent out in bits, and what happens now? The expectations are raised because the first two, you threw the two best ones out there. Now everything after
No,
that
I didn't throw the two best ones out.
is going to...
Yeah, I didn't think
now
so.
here
But
he
too
comes.
much build-up, you're saying. I'm with Dan on this. A little too much build-up.
Let reduce expectations.
Yes.
Musical Thursday, it's ridiculous. We've got here people...
Look, you co-founded this company. They wanted to take advantage of this really big swing, and I can't blame them for it. They helped pay for it. So, yeah, we got to do it their way a little bit.
The tweeters are saying we all know the LeBatard show musical idea is incredibly stupid, but Jessica really does have a good voice. Another tweeter writes in, so it isn't an actual music. It isn't an actual musical. It's an album. Cool. Because an actual musical. As if it weren't be bad enough, us singing poorly.
My favorite part about this is learning that our Reddit is full of music executives that have all sorts of composition experience. And yeah, we gave you two singles, a part of a musical. If I gave you two songs from Hamilton absent context, you'd be like, well, this isn't a musical. These are two
Hamilton.
songs.
I wouldn't. Yeah, let's stay away from
Hamilton. Let's
Hamilton
just
comparisons because that's not
Trying
gonna
to lower
yeah.
expectations.
Yeah,
Hamilton.
Hamilton.
Ham.
Okay, if I would have said Oklahoma, I was just pulling a
Oklahoma.
musical.
Oklahoma's a classic. I mean.
I was just pulling a musical,
A
guys.
tweeter
Most people know that one.
has written in, Dan is clearly checked out. Mike bitches about a contract for months and makes a bet he thought he would win, then bitches for months about how he shouldn't have to pay it off. Finally does, then gets paid to leave and make a stupid musical that no one asked for.
I bet you that person thinks wrestling is real.
The old checkout. How's that feel? Dan is checked out.
I wish I could check out. Never more so than on Tuesdays
Has anyone ever checked out while launching a company?
during a pandemic.
Things don't exactly go together. Did you just poke your eye with your glasses, your
I
reading
did.
glasses?
I did. That's what just happened.
You okay?
Yes, I'm fine. Thank you for your care.
You got it pretty flush. You all right?
Yes, I am fine.
a
Thank
fine.
you.
Did you guys like Oklahoma?
Fine. That's a fine. Because I hit
never seen
myself.
Oklahoma.
You've
in the
never seen
eye.
it, Greg. You have surely seen Oklahoma.
I think I have back in the day. Yeah.
Oh my God, I'm disappointed. I thought you'd know the songs.
And He Gets Your Gun was another good one.
but it is a musical, and it tells a story. It's a weird story. It's a weird thing for a sports radio show to do when we're not radio anymore. So we took the hack, and it's about it's mid-30s, 34 minutes long, and I hope you guys really like it. It comes out on Thursday.
You sound vulnerable, Mike.
I am vulnerable. Anytime you put art into the world,
Send it to Greg and have him give it a little listen.
I will do that.
Yeah.
I will not be doing that.
The reviews will be Boffo.
Wow, that is just a phrase from the 50s.
It's awesome.
You are bringing it so black and white today. Look at Roy is applauding you in the background for doing a 50s movie poster, Boffo. When have any of you people heard that word recently?
I've never heard of that. What is that?
It's a headline word invented by Variety, the trade publication. And when a movie was getting great rave reviews, it was said to be getting Boffo reviews because BOFFO was sort of a short form of praising something.
Boffo D's nuts.
You might say that.
Might you?
I just heard, I wish you'd let that sit a little bit longer because I heard through concrete walls here, La Esquina de Chusmeria over there, the Latin guys, this is soundproof room. And I heard that laughter, the guttural laughter at a D's nuts joke.
Oh, Dan, nothing better than a good Bofa D's.
They were so delighted. I can hear them through the walls, the concrete walls, that little corner of the room. I want to play some sound for you guys here, Stugotz, because I do think it's going to be interesting as we televise our descent. As you have heard during a pandemic, as I hit myself in the eye with glasses, that I have gotten worse at this. And as we age, Colin Cowherd is now doing some things, Stugotz, and where he can't keep up with inconsistent things he said before. It's one of these Stugotz moves, but people will hold you accountable for that stuff now. They've got the receipts, and so you can really embarrass yourself as a public sports talker for just, your words don't mean anything. You're just out here giving takes to take them.
That's the problem when you want to be credible. Now, when you don't want to be credible like me, you can get away with those things forever. It's a delight.
Stephen A. Smith is getting hit with some of this today, Stugotz, because he just crushed Kyrie Irving. And then, never mind, went the other way a couple of days ago.
After he beat the Bucks.
I just went the other way. And now people are paying closer attention, I guess, or the shame of that is something that people want to see because that's only going to age more and more poorly. And the reason I bring it up is because Skip Bayless, 70-year-old Skip Bayless, was going to go to First Take so that Stephen A. could do what he's doing now, right? When he's dating on television J.J. Redick and Mad Dog Russo. But what he was trying to do is bring the old fire of him and Skip. ESPN was going to put it together. And then I don't know what happened, and Skip Bayless stayed where he was, and now is launching a podcast, Stugotz. And at 70 years old, Skip Bayless is still milking the last little bit out of this LeBron and Lakers at the end.
Can you rank your top 10 players that were named to the 75th anniversary team? Yeah. Number 1, obviously, Michael Jordan. Number 2, Magic Johnson. Number 3, Shaquille O'Neal. Number 4, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Number 5, Tim Duncan. Number 6, Bill Russell. Number 7, Kobe Bean Bryant. Number 8, Larry Bird. Number 9, LeBron James. And number 10, Wilt Chamberlain.
He is good.
Wow.
He is good.
That is from the Skip Bayless podcast, the Skip Bayless show.
The visual on this podcast is just as good as the sound. It is just exactly what you'd think from Skip Bayless
But
in a set.
here's him explaining why. Now, I think it can't get anybody to agree. I mean, sports debate is really stupid, right? It's LeBron, it's Michael, who's better, LeBron or Michael? We yelled about it for 10 years. We couldn't enjoy
It's Michael.
We couldn't enjoy LeBron in this moment, because we were always comparing him to Michael and having him fall short. But Skip Bayless, and you know how cats like push things when they stand on, like Skip Bayless wants to push it out a little bit further and now is not saying, well, I think we can all agree it's 1-2 Michael and LeBron.
Or John Morant. Yeah, those three.
He barely got out jaw.
I know.
He worked in a tight window there with a good joke. He was lucky not to cough during it, and then he fell off and grabbed his inhaler. You knew that was a surgical strike, though.
It had to be. Small window.
Here is Skip Bayless explaining why it is that he just did that.
It is laughable to me that anybody could even try to make the case that LeBron James is better than Michael Jordan. If you give me any of my next 7 players, I promise you I will beat LeBron and his team. If you give me Magic, Shaq, Kareem, my man Tim Duncan, who should have another ring. Thank you, Ray Allen. Or if you give me Bill Russell, the great Bill Russell, just on intangibles, on killer will, Bill Russell, or enough said, Kobe Bryant, I will beat LeBron James. I give him 9, but no higher.
Who's LeBron get? And Duncan missed a bunny.
But no higher.
I give him 9. Wow. Mighty big of you.
Top 10's not bad, though, right?
The way I'm imagining that, because I don't know how that looks 40 years from now with medical advancements, but I imagine Skip Bayless at the end of a very small dungeon just shouting those takes into a tiny little tin cup. Like a Campbell's soup, an empty Campbell's soup can, just spitting at the cup. Like, just classic hater. I'm going to bitterly hate the athlete till the end, the athlete of my time, and I'm going to profit off it by spitting acid here into a tin cup 40 years from now about LeBron. You were good, but you weren't that good. Give me $12 million.
Not as good as my man, Tim Duncan.
My man.
But he's just squeezing the last little bit of profit out of the hate. Like, it's almost done for LeBron in Los Angeles. Skip, you got to the top of Hollywood. People care what you think, even though you're just spitting that acid. You've launched a podcast to tell us that LeBron's not the second best player of all time. He's the 9th.
It's a great take. I mean, I'm surprised he had him in the top 10.
What is that?
Give him that.
What is that? I demand that one of you explain that to me. I want, like, this is a man who exercises like a madman, eats the same thing every day, lives to work, says his wife understands it's about work. He's a man who hid in a dressing room from me on PTI because he didn't want me to see what he was thinking. He was writing down his takes, and he did not want me around them. And I'm like ironing a shirt shirtless in the dressing room. And I'm looking around. I'm like, really? You're hiding your takes from me?
He's playing chess. You're playing checkers, Dano.
Well, then here's the thing about where he was right, because somebody will find this clip, but it was over under 14 wins on the Patriots. Over under 14 wins. And the take he didn't want me to see was way over.
Was it the year they made it undefeated?
Right. Yes, he was right.
Well, they were way over.
Wow. He was absolutely right. It's the year they got Randy Moss. That is correct. He really foiled me. I wish I'd known. I wish I'd seen that argument. But, like, I ask you guys honestly, just imagine him shouting into an empty can in something that feels like solitary confinement. And just like hunched over, living for the moment. Because he told his wife, my job's the thing. And he's exercising like somebody who wants to be immortal. So I'm going to give him 40 more years.
Wow. So he lives to be 110.
That's
Just
right.
so we're doing the math right.
But at the end,
The very end.
But I've got the dreamscape, the landscape is a palace made of money out of his hate. Just acreage, just acreage. Fooling the American public with made-for-TV nonsense debate.
Okay.
But in a room in that house in a dungeon where he keeps his soul. In a corner of that room, he goes down there wearing his underwear or diaper, whatever it is at 110 years old, and the sneakers, the most modern of sneakers, the Nike shoes of 20.
Can't lose in these shoes.
2060 Jordans.
He still has the gold chain on, right?
Yes, one gold chain. That is correct, with his name on it, I believe. I think it's his name.
Mm-hmm.
And he crawls down into that dungeon, and he leans over this tin cup in a corner of this dungeon where he keeps his soul, in a sort of masturbatory way that's familiar. Just drips his hate into that cup of LeBron. I'll give you top 10 reluctantly, but you're number 9.
Well, 40 years from now, there's going to be people better than LeBron also. So he may
But no
not
one
be in the
better than
top 10.
Skip.
Well, no.
Never.